Welcome to Westmoreland Community Connections, a look at issues and happenings on Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. Here now is your host, Chad Amond, President and CEO of the Westmoreland County Chamber of Commerce.
Hello and welcome to Westmoreland Community Connections. I'm your host, President of the Westmoreland County Chamber of Commerce, Chad Amond. We are delighted today to have on the show Lacie Parker. Lacie is the Executive Director of Community Options, Inc., and they have an office in downtown Greensburg. Lacie, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, Chad. I'm delighted to be here this morning with you.
Well, we are glad to have you on the show because your organization is making an impact in Westmoreland County and all over the country,
yes.
I understand. But let's start it off with a little bit about you. How did you get to Community Options, and what's your background?
Sure. So I'm originally from South Central Pennsylvania. I was born in a small town called Waynesboro, and I went to Shippensburg University and got my undergrad degree in psychology. I had various jobs in schools, mostly for children with autism, and about 6 years ago, my husband and I decided to move over to Westmoreland County, and I had an interview at Community Options as an entry-level staff for a direct support professional. I got the job, and from that point to now, I worked my way up through several positions and eventually became the executive director of Community Options.
Very good. Well, with my role at the Chamber, we're working on the comprehensive plan, and so one of the things that we are talking about all the time is drawing people into Westmoreland County. I have to go down a bunny trail right off the bat, and what drew you to Westmoreland County, and what do you like about Westmoreland County?
Well, my husband's family actually was from Westmoreland County,
Okay.
So we moved back here to live on some land that his family had. But we actually love Westmoreland County, the Youghiogheny River. We live right by that, and we also are living right by the bike trail, the Great Allegheny Passageway. So, we love those things about Westmoreland County. There's a lot to do. Greensburg is a wonderful city, and there's a lot of restaurants and a lot of things to get into with your family.
Right. Well, we just had a chamber event down at the Performance Kayak along the Great Allegheny Passage on the Youghiogheny, and it is a beautiful place. But we're here today to talk about Community Options, Inc. So let's talk a little bit about what does Community Options do, and I looked on the website. It's a national organization.
Yes. So we're currently in 11 states, and Community Options' mission at its core is to support adults with developmental disabilities lead a meaningful life. So, as you know, we were founded in 1989, and the reason why Community Options was born, our CEO, Robert Stack, wanted to do something about the institutionalization of adults with disabilities. So years and years and years ago, when a child had disabilities, the parents were encouraged to send their children to an institution, and there they would live for the rest of their life. So we were created or founded so that we could offer an alternative. So instead of adults living in an institution, they can now live, work, and lead meaningful lives in their own communities, outside of locked doors, getting jobs, and experiencing the same things that you and I do every day and take for granted.
When you say some of the challenges that these disabled adults have, what are some of would describe those to the listeners?
Well, some of the adults, in order to get into our program, you have to have an intellectual developmental disability. So, in school, these are the children that might be in different classrooms, or they need a little bit more support to learn their academics. Those could be paired with physical disabilities. Some of our individuals have a couple of different diagnoses. Maybe they're in a wheelchair. Maybe their gait is off. They can't walk too great. And then also there's a lot of dual diagnosis, so a lot of mental health diagnoses as well. So these adults, they need support physically, emotionally, just to live in the community. And that level of support can look different depending on the adult. So some individuals need more support, some need less. It's all individualized. Everything is unique to each adult that we support.
Well, whenever I was on the website and exploring community options, I saw that you have, I think it was 10 offices, maybe in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, something like that. And you have offices all around the country.
Yes.
So do all of the offices offer the same programs?
Generally, yes. We all work under the same mission to support adults with developmental disabilities lead a meaningful life, but each state looks a little different. So some states we offer traumatic brain injury services. That's something that's really big in the state of New York. Some states we work with children. In Maryland, I know we have a couple houses that we support adults and children. So once they turn 18, they can transition to our adult services. But here in Pennsylvania, we mostly stick to residential supports, employment supports, and non-traditional day services. So that's kind of an alternative to your vocational workshops that exist in the county that a lot of people are familiar with.
So that would be like Clellian Heights,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Okay.
Clellian Heights or the Blind Association. So we offer day services that's all community-based. So they go out into the community, they make friends, they volunteer, they seek employment, and instead of going to a workshop and staying there for the day.
Okay. So do you provide some of our employers with people that have mental and physical disabilities? I mean, I know that even when I go to Giant Eagle, there are clearly some folks that have some developmental disabilities. Is that an example of what you guys provide?
Yes, that is an example. So we'll go and try to partner with different organizations, companies, for them to employ the individuals that we support. And what we ask is for them to find unique niches for our individuals to fulfill. So an employer has a lot of unfulfilled needs that we can go in with the adults we support, and they can pay them to do those random tasks that nobody else is really doing, or it's not part of their workload. So it kind of works out for everyone, for the employer and for the adults that we support.
You're listening to Westmoreland Community Connections on Hometown Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. I'm your host, Chad Amond, president of the Westmoreland County Chamber of Commerce. We're talking with Lacie Parker. She is the executive director of Community Options, Inc. Lacie, when we talked about the Community Options, Inc. Footprint across the nation, we didn't really talk about how long you have been in Westmoreland County.
Sure. So we came to Westmoreland County in 2012. We opened one house in that year. Since that time, we now have 18 houses operating. We have 19 owned currently. We're about to fill the 19th house, and we're working on developing 3 more. So in that short time frame, we've really expanded into Westmoreland County.
Wow. And so if there is a listener out here that is listening to the show right now, and they say, wow, this would be a great fit for someone in my family or someone that I know, how would they go about getting the services if they are interested?
Well, they could always contact me directly at my office. I have my phone number and my email address that I think will be shared. But they also can reach out to their caseworker as well through WHJB and ask them for help to obtain the services that
So
we
you
offer.
do have a connection with WHJB.
Yes.
Okay. Well, since we brought it up, that website is comop.org. That's comop.org, and the phone number is 724-221-6119. 724-221-6119. And if you want to reach Lacie via email, it's Lacie, Lacie .parker@comop.org. Lacie, let's talk a little bit more about some of the services that you offer, and let's give an example of maybe a program that you are so proud of that you've seen such an influence with one of your clients, or I don't know if you call them clients or...
We usually call them individuals.
Okay.
So, yeah, we opened let's say our first house that we opened, we had a young gentleman move in. He was living in a hospital. He had been living there for several months. So on a ward up in Western Psych, that's a locked unit. They don't get to go outside. They don't get to choose when they eat or what they do or go anywhere really or make friends. So we opened our first house back in 2012. That individual had free access to his entire house. He was able to go into his own refrigerator, pick what he wanted to eat, and eat when he wanted to eat. And that's really important, and I think something that we take for granted, that we're able to just go and open our refrigerator door. So I'm really proud that we're able to offer that freedom to the individuals that we support. A lot of the individuals come to us from locked units like that. So just having that ability to walk around the house, get a snack, go to the store, make a purchase, go swimming. Some of the individuals that we support are on baseball leagues, so they get to go and play baseball, or they go to the Y. They go and they hang out with their friends and their family freely without having to ask permission or without having to get a home pass, for the weekend. It's just like you and I live our lives, and I'm very proud that we're able to do that.
So what is the typical age of your individuals?
Well, anybody from the age of 18 up can come and join our program, but the majority of the individuals that we support here in this region seem to be in their 30s. We have a lot of individuals right in that age group.
So is that a region-wide, southwestern Pennsylvania? What are some of the major problems that are? You said in New York, brain injury is a primary problem. What are some of the major problems in Westmoreland County and southwestern Pennsylvania?
Well, a lot of the individuals that we support, they do have that dual diagnosis. So they have the IDD diagnosis and then a mental health diagnosis. So a problem that we run into a lot is finding people that are able to understand that and provide supports, whether it be medical support or just community support or employment support. So that's a major problem, is educating the community, taking away that stigma of a group home. When we go into neighborhoods and we purchase a house, you wouldn't be able to tell that we are there, but the neighbors do. They catch on. They see the traffic, the staff changing at shifts, so they might become apprehensive or scared or wonder what we're going to do. And we work really hard to just be a part of that community and be neighborly and make sure everybody knows that we're just the same as any other adult out there.
So when you go into a community, you will basically purchase the house or have the house, and then that individual will live in that house.
Yep.
But you will have employees from Community Options that will come in and help that person.
Yep. Provide the support 24 hours a day. We have a car, so the staff will come in. They'll help with all the cleaning, the household maintenance. They'll help the individual get ready and plan their day. We'll take them to their appointments, to the store, out to have dinner with their family, whatever it is that they're choosing to do. And we staff typically 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it's, you see the staff coming at the different 8-hour shifts in the community.
And how is that funded? Is it with funded through health insurance or
it's
state
through,
funding?
A waiver, Medicaid, Medicare waivers. So an individual that receives the services typically has to have what's called a consolidated waiver. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of people waiting to receive that type of funding in order to receive services and supports to support them throughout their life.
We're talking with Lacie Parker, Executive Director of Community Options, Inc. You're listening to Westmoreland Community Connections on Hometown Classics 107.1 WHJB. We'll be right back after these messages.
This is Westmoreland Community Connections on Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. If you have a suggestion for a topic, or if your nonprofit organization would like to be featured on this program, call us during regular business hours at 724-216-1200.
Welcome back. You're listening to Westmoreland Community Connections on Hometown Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. I'm your host, Chad Amond, president of the Westmoreland County Chamber of Commerce. Our guest today is Lacie Parker. Lacie is the executive director of Community Options, Inc. Community Options, Inc. is in Greensburg. If you want to visit their website, it's comop.org, comop.org. And if you want to get a hold of them, it's 724-221-6119. Lacie, before we went to break, we were talking about the impact that you have on individuals with Community Options, Inc. And one of the things that we know firsthand in the county is that workforce is oftentimes a struggle for not just employers like manufacturers and things like that, but it's also a struggle for a not-for-profit organization. So, how many people do you employ in Westmoreland County?
Currently, we employ about 160 people, and that's full-time, part-time, and sub-employees. And those majority of those individuals are direct support professionals. So they are the people that are working in the homes or out in the community directly with the individuals that we support to support them and living their own meaningful life.
So 160 employees, part-time and full-time. That's a significant employer. Yeah. And that's just in Westmoreland County, not all of southwestern Pennsylvania.
Correct.
Right. Wow. Well, I would imagine with 160 employees, you probably have some current employment opportunities available. Let's talk about those. You can maybe potentially recruit some people that that would maybe work for you. Yeah,
that would be wonderful. We are always hiring. And you can always come and work for us full-time, part-time. We offer very flexible scheduling, and it's a really great job to have because you're not just going to work and sitting behind a desk or answering the phones. You are being active. You're out in the community. You're making a difference. You're getting to do things that you would do on the weekends for fun. You take the individuals swimming, to the beach, to play basketball, to the movies, going grocery shopping, having barbecues out back. So it's really a great job to have, and it means a lot. I think that you could go home after a day of work and be proud of what you've done and that you really made an impact and changed the world for the better.
It seems to a certain degree like being a parent.
Yes,
right?
Yeah. a parent, a friend, a mentor, very rewarding.
So what are some of the skills that your employees would need to work at Community Options, Inc.?
Well, compassion, I think, would be the number one skill. Everything else can be taught. You would have to, in order to work for us, you would have to have a high school diploma and a license. Everything else we can teach you. It's a benefit to be able to cook and to do some paperwork, to be able to work on the computer a little bit, to do the documentation part. But we offer all the training that is required of the position. So if you come in and you're an excellent cook, that's a bonus, for us, because we're prepared to train you and to work with you to cook those healthy meals.
So one of the things that we're seeing with our workforce issues is that sometimes you get a person that retires and they say, well, I've retired for 2 weeks and now I'm bored. I want to get back into the workforce, but I don't necessarily want to work 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week. Mm-hmm. Do you hire any part-time retirees?
We would love to hire all the part-time retirees. There's a lot of great experiences that those retirees can bring to the table, and I'm sure that our individuals would be happy to work with them and to be able to bestow their wisdom upon them. That would be excellent.
So how would one go about getting an interview with Community Options?
They could always call our office and ask to speak to Riley. He is our recruiter, and he'll schedule schedule you an interview, you could go online. We have job postings up on Indeed for direct support professional, and you could apply through there. Or you could just come and walk in our door, and we would give you an interview right there that day.
Well, that website is comop.org, comop.org, or you can give the call to 724-221-6119. That's 724-221-6119. Lacie, let's shift gears for a second. You obviously are an organization that is doing great work in our community, helping people with mental and physical health disabilities, but you probably need to make sure that you're raising money as well. Mm-hmm. So what are some of the events that you offer to the community to potentially raise some funds?
Yes, so we hold an annual 5K called Cupid's Chase. We actually held our first Cupid's Chase last year at Latrobe. It was a success for us. We had about 60 runners. And that 5K is not only to raise funds to support the work that we do, but it's also to raise awareness about our organization and the individuals that we support. So we're absolutely looking to make that race bigger this year. I'm really excited to see what the turnout will be.
Cupid's Chase, is it going to happen around Valentine's Day?
Yes. Yep.
I didn't want to. I didn't want to make sure that I was.
Yeah. It's around Valentine's Day. It's the weekend closest. So yes, it. You think of having a 5K in February, you think it's cold, but I assure you the last 2 years, it was 60 degrees on the day of the race. It's been really wonderful, actually, to have such nice weather in February.
So it is July. So if somebody wanted to become involved with Cupid's Chase, what could they do? What do you need? You obviously have about 8 months to the event. So this is probably the time where the work is really being done.
Yep.
The day of the event that's whenever all of the work has been done up to that point.
Yeah. So you can be involved to whatever extent that you would feel comfortable with. Of course, donating is a way to be involved. Running or walking the race is a way to be involved. But we also have what is called the Community Options Business Advisory Council. And that is a way for you to, if let's say you have experience or you have some great ideas on how this race could be a success, you could become involved with us in that capacity. And you would just contact me, and we have meetings every quarter, and soon they'll increase to every month, where we talk about different ideas that we have, not only for 5K, but in general, for community options of how to be involved in the community and how to be an active contributor in that community.
Are there any other options for community members to become involved in community options?
I mean, we're always looking for volunteers. We're always looking for people to come and help us out and to whatever extent. So, yeah, I mean, if you call and you say you want to be involved, we will definitely find a way for you to be involved with us.
Well, let's talk a little bit about some collaboration that you have with other organizations. You mentioned WICSI, and we talked about Clelian Heights, and we talked about the Blind Association. Are these organizations at least working together to provide a full array of services to the community, and how are you doing that?
Mm-hmm. I mean, absolutely. All the organizations that you mentioned, we're all in it for the same reasons. We want to support adults with disabilities live a meaningful life just like you and I. So, we do some collaboration. We work together. We also work extensively with the dual diagnosis treatment team here in Westmoreland County. And we just come together. We come to the table whenever there's problems or whenever there's not problems, and figure out how we can best, support the individuals and the community so that everybody can win and everybody can, be an active participant and give back.
You're listening to Westmoreland Community Connections on Hometown Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. I'm your host, Chad Amond, president of the Westmoreland County Chamber of Commerce. We're talking with Lacie Parker, executive director of Community Options, Inc. Lacie, let's round it out the rest of the interview with some maybe visionary questions. If you were sitting here a year from now and you were celebrating what was a great year for Community Options, what would it be?
Sure. So I think a year from today, my goal would be to open an additional 4 houses in the Westmoreland County. And with those houses opening, I'd be able to support up to 8 additional adults with disabilities. That would be very successful for me. I'd also be able to hire at least 20 or 30 more staff. That, in addition to a successful Cupid's Chase, would be very successful for me. Last year we had 60 runners. We're hoping to at least double that, so 120, and I don't think that sounds too hard to accomplish.
Right. Well, and also I think that the listeners would want to know, what is your organization most proud of? I mean, what you do a lot of things, maybe behind the scenes, that some people don't necessarily realize. But what would you be most proud of?
I think, the organization would be most proud of the fact that we are an active member of getting individuals out of institutions and into their community. That's really the reason that the organization was founded, to help with that deinstitutionalization, and it's definitely what we work for every day, to advocate for the rights of adults with disabilities.
Okay. Well, is there anything else that you want the listeners to know about Community Options, Inc.?
Oh, well, I mean, I think Community Options really does very important work here in the community. I think that, if you see us in your community, we are there just as you would be. We want the same opportunities for the adults that we support as everyone else has. And we're willing to work with you and just as hard as anybody else to make this possible.
Well, Lacie Parker, Executive Director of Community Options, Inc. Lacie, thank you very much for the great work that you're doing in Westmoreland County, and thank your staff as well.
I will, and thank you, Chad, so much for giving me the opportunity to be here and share what we do with everyone.
It's great to have you on the show. If you want to join, if you want to find out a little bit more about Community Options, Inc., jump on their website at comop.org, comop.org, or give them a call at 724-221-6119. You've been listening to Westmoreland Community Connections on Hometown Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. Join us next week, same time, same place, for another edition of Westmoreland Community Connections. Thanks for listening, everyone.
This has been Westmoreland Community Connections, a look at issues and happenings in and around Westmoreland County. Join us again next week on Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB.